Hello and welcome to Aromatherapy Questions Answered, webinar number 2. My name is Bethany Williamson and I am a Bachelor Certified Aromatherapist, and the name of my business is Making Sense of Essential Oils. And these questions that I'm going to answer, part 2, are from a survey that I sent out asking what were people's top questions that they asked. I answered several last week, and this week we're going to finish up with the rest of the questions. So today's topics are going to include, how do I choose an oil? For, say you have a cold or a cough, where do I go? Who can you trust to give aromatherapy advice? Credible resources. How does price determine quality of oils? And how do I make room sprays? That was kind of funny because a lot of people all of a sudden wanted to make room sprays, and that was a big question. So I even have some recipes for you on that. So how do you choose an oil? Well, and who can you trust to give aromatherapy advice and some credible resources? I'm going to put all these questions into one little chunk here because they kind of all overlap each other. So this is kind of a hard question to answer because there's so much information out there and so many people are going to tell you different conflicting things to choose and do, and you need to be careful. When you're making a choice, and I usually give the example of, you wouldn't go to like Fred Meyer here in the Pacific Northwest. It's a huge grocery store and they sell clothing as well, and they have a pharmacy. And you wouldn't go to the pharmacy and pick up a prescription and then go to the checkout guy and say, oh, I forgot to ask how to use it. How do I use this medicine? Well, the checkout guy would probably look at you and go, I don't know, let me call my manager. The manager comes over and looks, I don't know, let me look it up on the internet for you. Now, would you trust that? Or would you go back to the pharmacist, the guy who was trained, and ask them, how do I use this drug? And the same goes with aromatherapy. You have to be careful where you get your advice. So I'm going to give you some hints and resources for that. So this requires education. I wish there was an easy, breezy way for me to tell you, I have a headache, what do I do with this? I have this, what do I do with this? There's really not. But there are some books out there. Now, a lot of the books you're going to find, like when I have friends who will join an MLM, which is nothing wrong with that, to buy oils, and they'll be given a book. So let's talk about books first. So when I looked at the books, I couldn't find the name of an author anywhere. The company, I don't think the company puts them together, but whoever put these books together, there's no author. And there's some great information in those books about, the oils and the properties. But a lot of times what they tell you to do when they're to use the oils is very unsafe. So I don't know who's writing these books. And that's what you're going to have to ask. Who is this author of the book? Is this person a trained aromatherapist? And where did they get their training? I talked with one woman who said she had spoken with an aromatherapist who said, just put a bunch of oil on your finger and rub it on your baby's gums. And I just looked at her because I couldn't believe it. Well, her friend hadn't really gotten training as an aromatherapist. She went through a little online program. Now, there's nothing wrong with online programs. You just have to kind of do your research. Where are they coming from? And this is because the United States does not have a certification process for aromatherapists. There are certain colleges, like Bastyr Natural Health College is where I went, which will have an aromatherapy program, and they will give you a certification. There's several colleges like that, but and there's a couple of online colleges that will do that as well. So you really need to find out, who is this person telling you what to do? Are they trained, and where did they get their training? Now, if they say clinical aromatherapist, yay! A clinical aromatherapist is someone who lives in Europe and in the UK, and because they have clinical aromatherapy programs there. They don't have them in the United States. Now, some may move here and practice here, but they are not certified here but they still have, they're still wonderful to get advice from. So if you're looking at a book and the person says they're a clinical aromatherapist and names the school they went to, that is a great resource. Also, is this author respected in their field? There's a lot of aromatherapists who have been around for a long time, and there's no need to really go anywhere else if you can find their resources, because they will not steer you wrong. So some of the book recommendations that I give people, because it's really hard to find books that are easy to read too. You know, when you're new to oils, you don't want to get one of these books and you start looking through it and can't figure it out. So for the beginner, I usually gift this book to my friends when they're starting with essential oils: Aromatherapy and Essential Oils Handbook for Everyday Wellness. I like this book. She tells you how, from the very beginning of the book, to use the oils, how to use them safely. She then has a whole section where you can look up a different condition or issue, and she will tell you which oil to use and how to use it safely for that condition or that issue. And it's really easy to use, and these authors are great aromatherapists, and the book is like $13 or $14. I got it off Amazon. It's a great resource. Another great resource for the beginner is Valerie Ann Warwood. She has been around since the 70s, and she wrote Aromatherapy for the Healthy Chili. That should be a D, excuse me for that typo. Aromatherapy for the Healthy Child. And that's where I get a lot of my information for using essential oils with children, because she breaks down in our last webinar that I did, when I talked about dilution for children, she breaks them down: infant, toddler, and then by chunks of ages. And she has a great dilution for them to help keep them safe. And then you'll find some handouts on dilution on the page where I'm going to load this webinar and where I've loaded my last webinar. So these are, and the big book of aromatherapy is huge, and that's a great resource as well. So these are some great book recommendations. There's a lot more out there that are great, but don't want to get overwhelmed. These are two to start with, and then if you want to build from there, feel free to contact me and I can give you some more recommendations. Now, aromatherapists, you can follow some aromatherapists. They have blogs, they have websites, and they have Facebook pages. Robert Tisserand, and I talked about him in the last webinar. He has been an aromatherapist, an English aromatherapist for, I want to say since the 60s. And he is well known and well respected. He has an actual institute. And he wrote the Essential Oil Chemistry book, which is the size of a phone book, which lists all essential oils and all about the oil and whether anyone's been hurt with that oil. And he also has injury reports on his website. He has a lot of information, a lot of the diagrams and pictures that I got for the first webinar I did come right from his website that he says you can use. I also have his dilution chart, which you can download. It's again where this is going to be hosted. You can find it there. So he has on his website, roberttisserand.com, a book section where he has book recommendations. And he lists the books that I mentioned, but he also has other books which you can read about and decide whether that's the level you want to read at or if it's something you're interested in. And I totally trust him. He will not steer you wrong. Another one is Julia Lawless. She, again, has been around for a long time, and this is her website in the UK. And she also has education books as well, which you can look at and decide if it's something you're interested in. And you can follow her. Robert has a blog, Julia has a blog, Robert has a Facebook page, and so I get his posts with lots of information. He follows the latest on essential oils. And then the last one is Dr. Robert Pappas. Now, Dr. Pappas is a well-known essential oil chemist, and he tests oils for lots of essential oil companies. He has a Facebook page. He also has a website. He wrote this wonderful article, Essential Oil Myths. That's what this link is to. It'll take you to his website and to the myths, because there's a lot of myths out there when it comes to essential oils. And he is a great resource. Again, I follow him on Facebook, so his information will pop up, and he's a great resource just for learning about essential oils. Now, Dr. Robert Pappas does not talk about usage. He only talks about essential oils and the chemistry of the essential oils, but he breaks it down so it's pretty simple. So he's a great resource as well. And then one I didn't put up here is Dr. Kurt Schnellbelt. Now, he has been around forever as well. He's a German chemist, and he has mentored a lot of the old-time aromatherapists before there was aromatherapy schools. He has written a lot of books, and he is someone that I would follow if you are interested in actually learning more about chemistry of essential oils. So if you need his name, you can email me or ask me later, and I can give it to you. But he would be like a couple steps above just learning about essential oils. He also sells some wonderful oils on his website as well. And then me, of course. I'm more than willing to help you. You can email me and I'll answer your questions. I have a blog, makingsenseofessentialoils.com, where I blog about essential oils. I have a podcast. It's on iTunes, Apple. Again, Making Sense of Essential Oils is the name of the podcast. I do 2 to 3 podcasts a month on that. And then I have a Facebook page. And the Facebook page goes by my old name, Square Pegs Round World. Even though the name on the page will say Making Sense of Essential Oils, the address is still Square Pegs Round World. Facebook won't let me change that, which is fine. And then I have a weekly essential oil tip that I send out every week. You can go to my website, and there's a sign up right there. You click on the landing page. It'll say sign up for my weekly essential oil tip. And once a week I will send out a tip on either on an oil and how to use it, or like we talked about this last month, bugs and different ways to help deter bugs using essential oils. And something else that I have as well is a membership site. And in this membership site, I have webinars, classes, essential oil profiles, audios, topical information. And when I say topical information, it'll be information like on anxiety, ADD, that kind of thing. I have a private Facebook page where you can ask any questions you want and more. I am in the process of having someone build me a brand new membership site. It's going to be sleek and have a lot more to it. It should be coming out in the fall. I'll keep you posted on that, and I'm really excited about it. But the membership site is $9.97 a month, and you can check it out at squarepegsroundworld.com, or you can just go to makingsenseofessentialoils.com, and it's right there on my website. You can check it out there. That's another way to learn more about how to use essential oils. So let's talk about, I'm sorry, let me back up for a second. So when you ask what oil do I use for what, I could sit here all day and just go through symptom or indication and name an oil and how to use it, and we would be here for hours and hours. And that's why it's really hard for me to answer that question very specifically, because there are many oils to use, and one oil might not work for one person, it might work for another. So a lot of times when you're looking in a book, you're going to see a list of oils for an indication. Don't use them all, just start with the top, and if it doesn't work, go to the next one. So I wish I could be more specific. I'm working on something that's in the works right now, hopefully, which will make this whole process easier and at the tip of your fingers to find an oil. So when that comes out, I'll let you know as well. So let's talk about price and quality. Now, I hear this all the time from people. They'll say, oh, you only spent this amount of money on your frankincense, it's not real, because at my company, frankincense is $100. And if you don't spend $100 on your frankincense, it's not pure and it's not quality. Now, this is not true. Low price can be an indicator that it's not a quality oil. If you came to me and said, I bought a bottle of rose essential oil and it was $12, I guarantee you it is 100% synthetic, because rose essential oil is incredibly expensive. It takes a room full of rose petals just to do maybe a very small bottle of rose, small bottle. I had a 5 ml bottle of rose essential oil. It was $250. So there's some oils you know right away. Low price is an indicator, but this comes with experience as well. If frankincense would be another one. If someone said they bought a $10 bottle of frankincense, I would immediately think this is not this is a synthetic, because I would say frankincense would be $39 to on up in price, depending on the size of the bottle and the location of where the frankincense was harvested. So how do you know? How do you know what is a good price? Well, the first thing you need to know is MLMs have to charge more to pay the up and down line. There is nothing wrong with that. That is not a slam against MLMs. That's their business. They have to charge more because they're paying a lot of people. So that you can't actually go to an MLM and gauge the real price of an oil based on that. So how do you tell? Well, you can look at a GCMS report, and this is a chemical test analysis that is done that Dr. Robert Pappas does. But again, if you're not a trained aromatherapist, you're really not going to know how to read it. So how do you tell? You talk to a trained aromatherapist and ask them, can you give me a list of companies that you know that you've worked with that make pure essential oils that are fair priced? And I have a list of, I have 4 places that I source oils. All of them are good places. They are my favorite one. The price point is right on price, is right there. Dr. Robert Pappas, Essential Oil University, he did a Facebook post once on how you can use price to gauge quality. And so he talked about different oils. He didn't list them all, unfortunately, you can't. And he said, you know, this oil, like he said, frankincense, if it's between $39 and I can't remember what the high was on it, that he said, you know that it's going to be, that's the right price for that oil. But unless you're really exposed to this environment, into this world, you're not going to know. So I would go to a trained aromatherapist and say, what are your top places to go to get good quality oils? There's some good quality oils in MLMs. So if you want to join an MLM, that's great. There's some great quality oils that are not in MLMs that you can get for without having to join or spend a lot of money. That's totally up to you. So if you are interested in a list of oils and places, please let me know, and I can let you know what those are that I source from. Doesn't mean it's the only ones, because there's a lot out there, and I can't know all of them. That's just impossible. So, essential oil sprays. This is so easy. I used to do make and takes. This was one of the most favorite things in the make and takes I did. In fact, it was so popular that I would have like 2 tables of just essential oil sprays that people could make. They love them. Essential oil sprays are great for bathrooms. They're great for sprucing up a room. If you want to spray it around, they're great for spraying on your sheets. I have one in my car, and I like to spray it around inside the car. It's just, you can take it on vacation with you. Essential oil sprays are fun, and it's also fun to come up with your own recipes, and I'll tell you how you can do that as well. But the way I make essential oil sprays, I don't make huge bottles of them because I get tired of the smell and I want something new. And if you make a huge bottle of it, you're going to be like, oh man, got to go through this before I make another. So I use a 1-ounce glass spray bottle. And then I take 30 drops total of essential oil. And then you can either use witch hazel or distilled water. Now, the difference between these is with witch hazel, when you spray it, the witch hazel flashes off quickly. Like if you spray it on your skin, it'll flash off quite quickly. And so you'll just have the oil. And the distilled water, it'll hang around longer, but also with distilled water, even though it's distilled, you still have the possibility of like mold and germs getting in there. So I like to use witch hazel personally. Also, witch hazel emulsifies better with the oils. So with distilled water, you have to shake the bottle. You know, shake it up really good and then spray, because water and oil don't mix. With witch hazel, I just do one quick shake and then I can spray it out, and it works great. And the way I make essential oil sprays is I've put a sheet of recipes on the page where I have the webinar from last week, and I'm going to have this webinar as well for you to download, and they're different recipes. But what I like to do is I like to take 2 or 3. I don't like to use more than that because it can get the smell can get kind of diluted if you use too many different oils. So I use 2 or 3, and then I will take the lids off of them and I'll put them together and put them, you know, wave them under my nose. Do I like the smell of these 3 oils together? And you'll know if you do. And then some of the oils, like your tree oils and your heavier oils, you know, the heavier smelling oils, you're going to want to use less drops because they will dominate the whole smell. And then like your citrus and your flowery smells, you want to use more of those because those are going to sit on top when you are blending, and they're going to flash off. So that's just a hint of how I do it, or you can just follow the recipes if you're starting out as well. And also, you probably could find essential oil spray recipes just about anywhere. It seems like they're everywhere. And if you wanted to use a 2-ounce glass spray bottle, just double the drops, and so on. So I'd like to wait for the questions to be at the end. I want to go through the whole thing, and then we can ask some questions if you have any, if you don't mind. So I have a couple of offerings, new offerings that I've decided to get. What I have experienced is I'm running into so many people who say to me, I have this box of essential oils. I bought them because a friend was selling them, and oh, I heard all these wonderful things, but I don't know how to use them. Or they've heard, you know, people getting hurt, so they're scared to use them. And so I've heard this a lot, and I've run into this a lot. So I've come up with a couple of choices for you. One is a one-on-one mastermind, a one-on-one, where I will meet with you one-on-one. And what we'll do is I will send to you, if you're out of the area, we can do this through Skype, but if you are in my area, Pacific Northwest, we can meet one-on-one in person. And what you'll get is I will send you 10 5-ml roller bottles ready to go, labels, and also directions and instructions of how to set up your area so that when we meet on Skype, you are ready to go. Then what we'll do is we'll talk for an hour. You'll send me a list of your oils first, a list of all the oils you have. And then I'll go through my recipes because I have a lot of recipes that maybe you might be interested in. And we will start blending your oils and putting them in bottles. We will put them in the roller bottles. So, you know, part of the directions would be get all your oils out and ready, put a cloth on, cover your surface of your desk or wherever you're going to be because essential oils eat through varnish, and you don't want to get them on that. And then have a carrier oil, whatever your carrier oil choice would be, like sunflower oil or whatever. And then I'll send you the kit of roller bottles and labels, and I'll walk you through step by step how you can get your essential oils out of the bottles into roller bottles and ready to use. That's the key. Getting them in roller bottles is the key. Now, the one-on-one is $79. So I send you the supplies and we meet and go through all your oils and get them in roller bottles. Now, if you're interested in something more than that, I'm also offering a mastermind. And in this mastermind, what we're going to do is it's for a month. And you can join for 1 month and not join the next month. And I'm going to have it ongoing. We meet once a week. I'll have 4 to 6 people, no more than 6 people in the mastermind. And we'll meet for an hour once a week. And what we'll do is we will just talk oils. You can ask me any questions you want, or I can talk about oils. You can ask, my kid has a cold. What do I do? How do I make this? Is there a blend for this? What do I use for that? It's going to be a mastermind where all of us will work together and give you ideas so that you can start using your oils. Because every time I hear someone say, I have a box of essential oils and I don't know how to use them, I cringe inside, because oils are so powerful and wonderful. And so I want you to be able to use them. So if you are interested in the mastermind, it's going to be $69 a month. And it's 4 hours. So we meet once a week, and then you could just go for a month, or if you want to do more than 1 month and continue on, that's totally up to you. And we can do whatever the group wants to do. I can teach you how to blend. I can teach you some chemistry of the oils. We can do just about anything you want in that mastermind. So if you would like to contact me with any questions or about my membership site or the mastermind or the one-on-one, all you have to do is email me at theoilqueen@gmail.com, and in the memo line, put membership site or mastermind or one-on-one, and I will contact you and we will get started and set that up. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, email me. I'm excited that you want to learn more about essential oils, and I'm excited that to offer this where I can help you get your oils out of the box, out of your shelves, and into use every day. Have a wonderful day.